Hello, 12 o'clock on Thursday. We are live with Turnleaf for Tough Talks episode, I think it's episode 7. I'm forgetting which episode it is here, but yeah, episode 7. I hope you're all well. Um, I gotta tell you, today is just kind of like, even right now, I felt very disorganized getting on. It's been an interesting morning. For those of you that are just kind of chiming in, this is new for you. I'm Melissa, founder of Turnleaf, and I go live every Thursday at noon for Tough Talks. I know I do have a few new members on my page here, so if this is popping up on your feed, this is what it's about. My history: I'm a counselor, work in addiction and mental health, and I have a full time gig as a counselor, but I also do turn leaf on the side in order to really just kind of touch base and help impact more than I do with my kind of 8 to 12 one-on-one caseload here. But I try to make it as authentic as possible. I don't have a script. I don't have Might have a topic here and there by clients or members that may say, hey, do you mind bringing this up? I'm having a challenge here and in this area of my life or what have you. But I wing it really. And so far, this is my 7th episode. So far, some pretty good stuff has come up. I'm getting some really good feedback. People are really able to. It appears that people are able to look at the content, listen to the content, and apply it to their lives. Okay, and that's what this is about. And I don't. Nothing is off limits here. I'm pretty raw when it comes to just life in general. I don't like to really sugarcoat things. I say it as it is. And I also bring my own personal stories in here. I do work with clients that do have mental health, that just have light. It's just, I don't even like to label it really. I mean, I just label it because we connect, you can connect and understand what I do for a living. I'm an international counselor, so I can do this worldwide, which is kind of scary, but contained to the world, right? But I'm able to bring in some of the examples from my clients that I work with through sessions, and that's effective because we all have similarities, all right, and we are not. I feel as we're getting better, but I feel like within the last, I want to say even 50 years here. And no, I'm not aging myself. I'm not there yet. Close, but no, I'm not there. We haven't been able to talk like this. We haven't been able to open up the conversation about what's going on in our life and what we're doing, what we're challenged with or what's working for us. And when we are challenged, when we do have feelings of anxiety, depression, anger, shame, guilt, grief, all those feelings that we all have, I don't care what's going on in your life, we all have these feelings. I don't care how much money you have or how good you look on the outside. We all go through shit with our kids, in our marriages, loss of jobs. I mean, you name it. I leave nothing off the table here. And and we haven't been able to really authentically have conversations, whether that even be, with our therapists, with our counselors. Parts have been missing. Conversations have been missed, and we don't authentically really get to open up as much as our soul and our higher self is like really craving. All right. And that's what this is for. And that's the kind of work that I do. Um, and it's not it's not they're not easy discussions. These are not it's tough for the people I connect with to really share some of their most trying times, how they're really feeling. But when you do, and when you really get to chime in with yourselves, I'm not big on really recommending anything that is going to take away from you looking within. And that my purpose on in this lifetime here, and I believe in we're all spirits and energy, and I believe in all that quantum physics. I believe in the universe. I don't believe we're the only Earth is not the only thing. I believe we are, you know, I believe in the afterlife. I believe in reincarnation. I believe in all that. And I believe it because it's a knowing. It's a knowing that trumps everything else. And when we are on Earth, we're with billions of other people that have their own energies and life contracts and their own reincarnation as their karmas and all that shit, right? But we kind of got stuck in this loop, this this dimension of shame and suffering, if you haven't noticed, if you haven't looked around you. And I don't blame you for wanting to avoid it. It's not good to look at. It's not fun to look at because we feel helpless. We see it in our kids, we see it in our family members, we see it in our partners. Life is tough. Life is tough. But we've been taught through all of our systems and upbringing, the world beliefs. Our parents, they did the best that they could, but I mean, we're sick. We're sick. We're overdiagnosed and overmedicated, and everybody just wants to shut it all down. This is what you do. This is what you have based on these symptoms and experiences. This is what you're going to take. This is how you're going to make it better. And not only are we kind of there's no collaboration or connectionness with systems, we work in silos. The medical system, the justice system, our governments, I mean, we work in silos. And what's happening, especially within the last couple of years here, and it's going to continue to happen, is we're going to remember who we are and what we're capable of. We're capable of being well and being in charge of our own lives. We are very quick because of our upbringing, we're very quick to look at solutions that are outside of ourselves. And I was guilty of this. And I do fall back into those patterns because these are programs that we've literally been taught to do as you're told, respect your adults, do as and if you don't, there's consequences. And so we take on those roles, we take on those parts to just be accepted and to fit in. We don't want to be rejected. We are a species of tribes and groups, and we want to share, and we want to help each other, and we want to love, and we want to be compassionate. That is our authentic self. That is that big self, the higher self that comes in. And that's kind of coming online for a lot of the collective right now. They're calling it the Great Awakening per se, and even that, I'm not big on labels because even those are distractions. I always like to come into myself, but I do enjoy it. But it hurts. It hurts. It doesn't feel good to look in and say, okay, wait a minute. No, it's not my husband's fault. No, it's not my kid's fault. No, it's not the government's fault. No, it's not. I'm not saying that there's not evidence that they've fucked up here. I get that. But we get to choose what comes in and what goes out. We get to choose that. And when we start speaking up for ourselves, and when we start and we're kind of a knowing of, holy shit, wait a minute, I can say no. Is it going to be uncomfortable? Yes, absolutely. But these are boundaries. And when we're able to say, actually, no, that was inappropriate, or no, thank you for the option, but I'm going to go over here, or no, you're not allowed to talk to me like that. And you put yourself first, or I'm going to, if moving the body is important, I got to work out tonight. Okay, do you mind for your partner? Do you mind watching the kids for an hour while I work out without feeling guilty about it? Because I get we're busy, and the partner on the other end saying, well, yeah, I'm going to be alone with the kids, I suppose. And then you're feeling like, like that response didn't feel very good. Has nothing, that's their shit. That's their response. And if they come back and say, and there's conversation and say, well, you know what, these are the reasons why maybe not tonight, and you have a negotiation and there's both sides heard. But if they're just not wanting to, kind of hold up their end of the end of the deal per se, because we all have jobs and families, go work out. I need to work out. I need to move my body. And once we are able to start communicating, this is what I need, this is what I want, people are going to be uncomfortable around you, very uncomfortable. Once you start doing the work that I help my clients with, and I do myself. Once we start doing this work, your reality starts to change, and it's not comfortable at first. It's actually really, it kind of, it shakes the whole system up. It really does, because we are literally, our central nervous system is wired and programmed, and our belief system, and our morals and our values. I mean, this has been ingrained in us for years and decades, some of us. And so to shift that, and to really give the time that you need when you're triggered, when you are rattled, when somebody brings up the anger in you, or the resentment in you, or the avoidance, or the wanting to change them and others, that's all you. That's all your shit. All right? What has happened to you may not be your fault, okay, in terms of history. The horrible things that have happened, absolutely. You're not responsible for that, but what you're responsible for doing now, in today, is saying, what can I do? Well, I'm responsible today for how I'm feeling, the people I allow in my life, the job that I choose, the activities that I do. I'm responsible for that today. What has happened to me? No, I'm not responsible for that. There's a reason for it. I just said I'm big on reincarnation. I'm big on lifetimes. I'm big on there's we come back, and my spirit, my soul comes back and says, let's see what we can do here. And it's not specifically, it's such a vast, it's so much bigger than we are. So when we're doing the work for ourselves, in order to change all our systems and what's not working for us, I'm hearing a lot of complaint. Believe me, I've done it. I've done the complaining myself. I've had my turn with that, especially as I was kind of, waking up and saying, holy shit, like there's a lot of choices that are made for us. And if we don't do A, B, and C, then we can't do A, B, and C. So once you kind of wake up to how much oppression, we are a suppressed species. I'm not saying we shouldn't have rules. By all means, there has to be a structure, there has to be a system, there has to be some order here. But let's consent to that order. Let's all be involved here. So when we're doing this work and we want everything outside of us to shift and change, do you not feel the resistance in that? There's a reason why, because that's not your soul contract. That's not your job. Your job is to take care of your own shit and your own soul and your own higher self and the contract that you came in with. Maybe I'll do a video on that another time, or it might come up now. Who cares? Like I said, I'm not scripted. But you come in with what you want to do here, and if you're coming in on this lifetime, I mean, we are evolving here. There is absolutely a shift in consciousness. And it's beautiful. Is it easy? No. Relationships are breaking. Jobs are changing. I mean, these energies are so high and strong, okay, that it's uncomfortable. And sometimes we're like, wow, what the hell was that? Well, I'm not going to get into the astrology of things, but that's we're all energy. We're all part of this, okay? And so when we're able to and we want to change everything and everyone outside of ourselves, it starts with us. And then your reality starts to change. You actually start to, if you're focusing all the negative that's going on in the world, if you're focusing on the things that they are doing to us, if you're focusing on the things that don't feel very good, you're going to feel anxiety. And by all means, anxiety is not a bad thing to feel. That's part of the warning sign. It's part of being a human. This is the experience. This is the human experience. But when you're sitting in it and you're attaching judgment, blame, hate, resentment, how dare you do this to us or me, even marriages or what you can apply this across the board. What starts to happen is you just create more of that and you get stuck in that. You're not wrong. Please be aware. That's the raising consciousness. Please be aware of what is going on in our institutions, in our systems, in education and everything. It's all shifting. We can see that. You need to be aware of it. But how you deal with it, how you respond to it, is going to be a big indicator of what your health is going to look like, your relationships are going to look like. Find where you can help, how you can help, but it's got to start with you. It has to start with you. And then that emits to the collective. We want to say we want to change. Everybody should eat. We have enough friggin' food in this world for everybody to eat. Let's eat. Let's be real here. You want to, heal. Think about the things that you want in this world and what you want to happen, and tap into yourself and see how you can be of service. Okay, but that hate and the anger and the resentment, those are parts of you that are going to start to interfere, especially if you felt like you've been duped. Okay, and I was there. Oh God, I was there. And sometimes it creeps in once in a while, and I'll hear something, or like I don't watch the news. I really, again, what I see, what I hear, conversations I partake in, I'm very particular what I choose to come into my field. And if it's fear based, if it's fear driven, if it comes with a tone of if you don't do this, this will happen to you, or if you're concentrating on something like, holy shit, this scares me. I'm scared here. Awareness, yes, sit with the awareness. Okay. But if you continue to play out and absorb yourself in things that are outside of yourself, because these stories are outside of yourself, you will continue to pattern back in to feeling completely helpless. How you change that over there always comes here. It always comes within. And that is being able to, settle yourself. And I've got a lot of content on my page here, a lot of good tips, a lot of videos. Start checking them out, to really look at how to start. It's like, where do I start, Melissa? Yes, I can help. I do one-on-ones for now. That may change. But I do this work on a daily basis. So I'm able to really help you take tools home. If I haven't put it up on the platform, you'll see it on the platform. There's a lot of practical tools. My ebooks are being developed at this point. So you get a lot of good education and practical tools you can take home today. For you, but you really just sitting, being able to silence and still yourself and tapping in, even 20 minutes a day, tapping in to what is coming up for you. And if you're triggered during the day, Anger, rage comes up, resentment comes up. If your partner does something, if you're affected and triggered by that, if you're not sitting in neutrality, it's because that's the part of you that's coming in to protect you. And I love these parts. Once we actually give them the platform, once we give them our life stage and say, hey, what do you need to tell me? And why are you taking on this role of anger or frustration or jealousy, revenge? That's awareness. Once you tap into that and start chit chatting with it, it's going to speak to you. It's going to talk to you. Don't try to figure it out. It already knows. It's in your subconscious. And I touched on this, I believe. I feel like the week has just flown by. I believe I'll touch on this every week. I sound like a broken record, but that is my purpose in this lifetime, is to help you remember how powerful you are and how amazing and perfect your abilities are to heal yourself. Of course there's platform, of course there's people like me that come in and share like this. We have great therapists, and we have some, but we are in this together. Us helpers here, the healers, the helpers, I mean, we're in service. We we have our own shit that we're dealing with, and we are looking at our own parts. And if you're connected with a therapist or a counselor or a healer or helper, whatever the hell you want to call it, shaman, or it's all good. It's all there for a reason. We're all here for a purpose and reason to teach, but it's all to help us get back to our authentic, true self. That means telling the truth about what's coming up for us and not blaming everybody around us for what is going on. All right. And if your helpers are telling or are saying, I live in peace and light and harmony all day and all night, I'm just so I've reached this bliss. I'm not saying that there are no time, there's times that yes, we are in bliss. I have experienced these moments of bliss, but they don't last. Contrast comes up. They don't last. So if your healers are saying that they're in bliss at all times and pleased by my programs, and you will never feel anxiety or rage or contrast again, I mean, run the other way. We're in a time right now that people are starting to really look at what it doesn't feel very good. So if your healers are coming in, your therapists and your counselors are coming in to say, like, do it this way and you will never feel this again, I call bullshit on that, because we live in energy. We are energy, and good comes in and it leaves. Contrast comes in, and not so good feelings and low vibrations come in and they leave. And that's the way it works. Depends on what we're doing during the day, what people were around, and this is the beautiful thing about it. This is the beautiful thing about this, is the people in our lives that piss us off and trigger us, they're our biggest teachers. We chose them. And if you're cycling back in to the patterns that don't feel very good, because a part of you that keeps on going back hasn't been heard. It hasn't been heard. You can do all the light and love meditation that you want to do. It will temporarily calm down and reset the central nervous system in that moment. Okay, it's effective. I meditate pretty much on a daily basis. I highly recommend it. You got to meditate to do this work, really. You got to, whether it's just really going, even walking in nature, it's a big one. But if you're not chit-chatting and being real with the parts, you're avoiding. There's avoidance there. Mindfulness, CBT, the talk therapy, that all has its place. Absolutely. But if you're not talking, and what's coming up for me this morning, I did a session, And part of her uses substances, and a part of her is ashamed, very ashamed for using these substances. So those are two parts. And when I really get into the therapy, when I really get into this practice, what was actually on her was the 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 dependence, the addiction was right on top of her chest. All right. And the shame was right on top. So she's like, "Ooh, I'm having a hard time breathing." Like really heavy, heavy, really heavy chest, tight, heavy, you know. And I'm able to chit chat with shame first. Shame's protecting the addiction. Okay. And when we get into shame, and if we can say to shame, can you give me, I see what you're doing. Once you chit chat with it and really say, can I maybe get in and have a conversation with the addiction in me, the dependence in me. Shame has never been spoken to before. And what happened this morning, the addiction, the little one that came in, because it identified actually that it was 12 years old. And the type of work that I do, it's you're dealing with parts, you're dealing with like talk to these parts of you. It's not hypnosis or anything like that. But you are getting into the subconscious, and it is a form of meditation. It's the IFS through with Dick Schwartz created this beautiful practice, and I bring it in. I got a toolbox that I bring into sessions, and I use it where it's applied. It's very effective with trauma. It's very effective when we're cycling back in, just cycling back in to these abusive relationships and unhealthy relationships. When you're cycling back in to addiction, gambling, sex addiction, shopping, eating. That's a part here, you know? That is a part of you. And when we're able to calm ourselves for a second and kind of get rid of all the distractions, all right? And we're able to say, okay, what do I need right now? What do you need? What do you need to tell me? Even the individual I work with this morning, she just started this type of she's finally working on this. It took her a minute because she was scared, and that's okay because that's a part of her. It's not all of her. But she couldn't believe the answers that she got from herself. It was from her. But there is a different type of dance that you do with yourself. And her shame, the shame that she has for her addiction, once it was put aside, once we asked it to just give us a second here, she felt different towards the addiction. She felt curious and felt some compassion with the addiction, with that part of her. She never thought of it. She never looked at it like that before. And that's the type of shit that I'm talking about. That's the type of approach that we need to take in order to stand up for ourselves in this really tough world. It's tough. People are tough. People are angry. People are motivated in ways that cause harm to others. And once we get on board and our higher self chimes in, after all this shame and all these parts of us that are really trying to protect ourselves, once we start doing this kind of work, clearing the air, decluttering these challengers, our higher self does come on, and it gets curious, and it shows courage, and you're clear on the decisions that you're making based on how connected you are with your true self. You weren't born with all this shit. The beautiful spirit and soul that you have, that's pure. That's pure divine energy and love. All right? That's what that is. That's where we're going. That's the train I'm jumping on. And I'm my train, anyways. I'm conducting, but we do this together. We take turns. I learned so much. God, do I ever learn a lot from everybody around me. My husband, biggest teacher. My biggest teacher pokes the bear lots. Like I said, we've been together for quite some time here. We've been through some shit. And so but now as I'm coming into myself and not expecting him to fix it for me, change yourself so I feel better. I did that for years. I wanted him to give me love and show up when I couldn't even do it for myself. And that's why there was so much resistance. All right. Once you start to really say, I can give myself some love, I can do this for me. Your partners, there's no more anger towards them. Like, how dare, let's talk again. We have these talks, right? Let's chit chat again about how the last couple weeks have been, and you did this and you did that and you did this, and the last time we spoke, this is same conversation. You feel like a broken record, right? Because you're doing it backwards. You either try to change your partner, try to change your partner, and then if he doesn't change, you come and look at yourself and you try to change you. Okay, well, I'm going to eat better. I'm going to work out. I'm going to look better. I'm going to take the, but you're doing it all wrong. There's no wrong, really. I shouldn't say that, but you're doing it in a way that you're in resistance of the parts, the programming, the belief systems that are steering your vessel. They're not being heard. You could look, be, eat, not eat. Well, I don't give a shit. That's all outside of yourself. Have more sex, don't have sex. That's all outside of yourself. I'll give my partner more sex and he'll love me more. I get it though. I totally get it. But we're missing a part there. You're missing yourself. You're missing yourself. The guilt, the shame, the self-doubt, the need for perfection. That's all being missed. You're missing that. And that's when we try to change outside of ourselves, the people, our kids, try to change. My kids again are my biggest teachers. They are honestly they're my biggest triggers. They really are. I put them in my life to rattle these parts of me that need to be heard and want to be heard. And I'm grateful for it, but holy shit, like I didn't want to share this. I really didn't, and I thought about it this morning. I didn't have a great morning. I did not have a great morning before my session. The kids this morning were poking at me. They were poking at me. And I got angry. I got angry this morning. And I know I'm speaking to parents here. And actually, this goes for everybody. What I'm about to share, because obviously I'm going to share now. And I wanted to avoid it. I'm like, I'm not going to bring it up. But we're all going through this. And I preach authenticity, right? So I gotta practice what I preach, right? But I'm embarrassed. The part of me is ashamed for not being nice to my kids. And you can use this example that I'm going to give, because obviously everybody needs to hear it here. You can use it in your marriages. You can use it in any relationships. This is relationships. My kids, it's not just parenting. My kids are human. My kids are people. Okay, they're little. I've got an 8, 6 now. So yeah, or no, sorry. Oh my goodness, a 4, 6, and 7-year-old. Oh my goodness. See, there's a reason. I've a lot of triggers, a lot of energies around me. But this morning, really just, there was a moment there that for my son, and they're going through the stages. They're testing. They're in terms of trust. What can I get away with? What can I lie about? What can I withhold information from? To he wanted to bring some toys to school, and that's a no at the school because it's a distraction. And I don't want them taking a bunch of their toys out of the home. And he was farting around. He had his hand in his pocket and stuff and such. And and I looked at him and I said, what's in your pocket? Nothing, just my hand. And I can feel when they're being dishonest. It's like a trigger that comes up for me because of my past, because of my history not being able to trust. All right, which is going to come back and play in this scenario. All right. And and I noticed that he had a little toy. Once I walked away for a second, I noticed he had a little toy. We have cubbies in our home. Each kid has a cubby. I noticed there was a toy in the cubby. And I automatically, when I saw it, I said, "See, I told you you had something in your pocket. Like, don't lie to me. Stop lying to me." And then of course I teach the boy that cried wolf, and let them know that once we lie and we're not being honest about what we're doing, it have a hard time trusting, and then we question what you do in the future. And what's coming up for me right now, I got a little ting, is partners that cheat on their partners. Okay, well, you've done it before. You've done it before. So why would I believe you now? For my son, I'm just going to bring it back here, but somebody needed to hear that infidelity part there. Same shit, just different scenario. Okay, same shit. So when I said to him, I can't trust you, and he got emotional because he said, "No, mommy, I really didn't have it in my pocket. Really didn't have it in my pocket." And I said, "I don't believe you. I don't believe you." And the reason why I don't believe you is because you've been dishonest with me. A few things, okay? You've been dishonest with me. By the way I'm saying it right now was not the way I was saying I've raised my voice. That feeling, so if I would have said it the way I'm saying it right now, or if you're talking to your partners or your kids or your colleagues like this, to say, "Well, actually, I don't believe that you didn't have that in your pocket, or I don't believe that you were faithful to me, or where you said you were. I don't believe it this time because of our history together." you know and he started to get defensive. He started to feel he was defending himself. And I was really adamant of, "Listen, we're not bringing toy." And I was adamant, but I was upset. I was upset. There was a part of me in there. We have to parent our kids. We have to teach them morals. Absolutely. But there's a difference here. Absolutely have to have structure. We have to have, no, if you're not allowed to bring these toys to school, absolutely not. But there was a part in me that came up that was so pissed off and so angry. Okay, it wasn't just how I'm speaking to you here. I was angry. Like, how can I trust you? And it was like, whoa. Okay. And that feeling comes in for me because I'm getting good at this. This doesn't happen very often. Okay. But when it does happen, it used to happen more often. But now that I'm working on this stuff with myself, it doesn't happen often. But when it does, I kind of get like the higher self kind of comes in and says, "This doesn't feel good. It does, you don't, this is not the relation, the tone that you want to have with your son." All right. So he was upset and what have you. And then my daughter comes in, and I found out that she took something from a friend at school, my older daughter. And I don't want them taking things from their friends and bringing it. Some of these things that these kids have, they are expensive, and they're bringing them into our home. And then there's who knows what's going on in their household and the other kids getting in trouble from their kid, their from their parents because my kid has theirs. Do you see? So I raged this morning. I had a tantrum this morning. And I've had this conversation with them before. Do not take, do not, don't do this. And we've had these conversations before with our partners. When you do this, this is how I feel. And then we get angry. And then it cycles back in. It cycles back in to these patterns. Okay. And so my daughter looked at me this morning. She's never done this before. Whew. I'm getting tingles here. So I'm glad I'm sharing. Feel a little bit better, but I still feel vulnerable here, which is fine. Which is fine. Okay. I'll sit with it and I'll get through it. But my daughter said to me this morning, because I want to be a perfect mom. Those of you that do, I don't spank my children. There's a no hands on, but I do get angry. Okay, and I have yelled at my children. I'll raise my voice, and the tone behind it. I am loud, but the tone behind it actually is anger, is rejection, is confusion. So it comes in with a different tone. All right. And that's the difference there. Just because I'm loud, when I get angry like this, it's because and I get triggered like this, I'm not teaching them something in that moment. I'm actually a part of me comes on and it's like this. You kind of lose yourself in it. So my daughter comes to me and says, don't yell at me. And she says, you are not allowed to yell at me because I've been working on this. They know I've been working on my anger. Okay. They know. And when something comes up, we have a conversation. What I said to you there was unacceptable. Mommy's working on the part of her that gets angry. All right. And so I show mommy some compassion for a second. And this is not you. This is mommy. Yes, the things that you do. Yes, I'm going to teach you right and wrong. Yes, I'm going to show you, what is acceptable and what is not acceptable. But when I'm verbally, because it's verbally abusing, okay, and even a part of me went like, "Whoa, Melissa, watch your words," because language, right? I know I'm a great parent. I know my kids, but she gets this morning. She told me she stood up for herself. She stood up for herself, and it kind of just. I looked and I said no, and I said to her, "No, I shouldn't be yelling. No, I shouldn't be yelling at you." As I'm continuing to yell at her, and she was strong and courageous in standing up for herself there. And she stood in her truth and she stood in her authentic self. And she didn't yell at me. She showed me compassion. And she said, "You are not allowed to yell at me like that. You're not allowed. Stop that." That's why I say our kids are our biggest teachers. The people around us. Typically, if I wasn't working on my shit here, typically if I spoke to my parents like that, I mean, if growing up, if you would have told your parents to stop what they were doing and stood up for yourself, what do you think would have happened? I'll just leave that with you. But today it's different. We are healing our ancestral karma here. We're healing our lineage, the ones that came before us, the ones that taught us that if we are not in control or if we're feeling rejected, control it. Control it. And amazing. When I did get them off on the bus, and yes, when I did leave them, of course, there's hugs and kisses and what have you. But we are not going to throw that under the rug. What happened this morning? We are not. We put that on the shelf, and that's what I tell them. We're gonna shelf this, okay? Mommy loves you so much, and we're going to shelf this and we're going to come back to it. But as I sat with myself after they left, of course, the guilt, the shame, okay, came in. But really what came in for me was because my son didn't appear to be being truthful for me, I overreacted. The part of me overreacted because when I tapped into that part of me this morning and I gave it a minute to speak, it took me to the parts of me when I was small that I can't trust anybody. You lied to me. I can't count on you. You get that? So now what's going to happen? And that this was my son this morning. When he is being deceitful, and kids will be deceitful, okay? They're testing us out. They're seeing, what they can and cannot get away with. They're trying to figure it out themselves. But when you get to a point where you are triggered, you're no longer parenting, you're no longer teaching them right and wrong. You are triggered and you are reacting. I tapped into that, and what showed me was because you didn't trust growing up. And so this morning when I thought he was lying to me, that brought that part of me back in to protect me from being hurt again. Do you see how that works? So I was grateful for that. Okay. I was grateful for that. And I'm going to be able to bring that up with him tonight. Age appropriateness, by all means, they're still young here, so they don't want to get too much of in our adult lives. But I'm pretty good when it comes to kind of ironing out the kids and being able to have those authentic conversations where they can understand it, because that's not his shit. That's not his stuff. That's my stuff. And I've also got to commend my daughter, the conversation for good for you for standing up for yourself and saying, you are not allowed to talk to me like that. I don't give a shit if I'm her mother. I don't care. Because what's going to happen, okay? This is gonna get you. What's going to happen if I leave this and I don't bring it back in and follow up with this and commend her for how brave she was this morning? She's going to bring it into her relationships. She will bring it into her relationships. And then if and when her partner yells at her, she's gonna, as the time goes on, as this pattern, if we go into this pattern over and over and over again, and I don't acknowledge her bravery and commend her for standing up for you, wow, that must have been scary standing up to me. I'm a pretty strong presence. Again, that's another part of me that protects the other part of me, right? So I'm a pretty confident, strong presence. That's not easy to stand up to. And she did it this morning. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into her belief system. I'm going to go into her programming tonight. And I'm going to reinforce how proud I am of her for standing up for herself when somebody was speaking to her and at her at a way that was disrespectful. And then she is going to be able to embody that and say, wow, that part of me felt good. Thanks, Mom. And we talk like this all the time. So, but today was a little bit different. But when she, this is just an example of how we can chit chat with our kids and our partners, relationships in general. And then, of course, my son, and I like to bring in the conversations. There are conversations that do need to be had one-on-one, but because everybody was involved this morning, even my younger one was involved. She watches everything. She sees everything. I'm going to bring everybody together and we're going to have a conversation we're going to take it off the shelf. And we're going to have a conversation about what we can do different, what I can do different, what I'm responsible for, not my son, you do that he knows. And now as I was able to reflect and bring this part on me, that was my distrusting people in my life that lied to me, that weren't consistent, that abandoned me and rejected me. I can't trust. So when somebody lies to me today, that part of me jumps back on. I'm allowed to tell him, you're not allowed to lie. Don't lie to mom. When you are dishonest, it's a difficult time trusting you in the future. I do have it. That's different. I'm allowed to be assertive. I encourage parents to be assertive, but the passive aggressive or just the aggressive, which was me this morning, that's not effective. It is never effective, ever effective. If anything, you're just there people don't feel very good. Their parts get hurt. Okay? But I'm going to be able to go back into this with them later on. And I am humbled for that. Humbled. This is not easy. Because a part of me said, God, no, don't. You protect yourself. You protect yourself and you don't apologize. It comes in very lightly, that part now, because I have challenged it so much and saying, no, I've done something wrong. I've said something wrong, and I'm going to go and own that. So that part of me, because I've been practicing this for, I would want to say, like going on a good year and a half now, it's getting, it's like, Kate, I get it. It's like, no, I'm going to talk about it. This morning, I didn't want to talk about this here. I really didn't. The part of me was coming in saying, no, like you can't tell them that. Like you're so you're embarrassed. No, we're all going through it. We're going to say and do things. And I gave you a really good example of why I did it. It's because the part of me didn't trust. And we're working on that. I'm working on trust. And it gets less and less. And once we start doing this work, I'm able to recognize and pinpoint, okay, once I sit with it, it shows me you can't trust anybody. It's like, okay, I totally get it. Trust. I totally get why you're doing this. But I'm going to be 40 years. I'm a grown woman here. I'm safe here. I can trust my kids and my husband here. I am safe. And then it kind of, yeah, okay, you are safe. Whew, I got shivers. So yeah, this is life. This is life. And we are allowed to make mistakes. These are our biggest teachers. These are our biggest teachers. And our kids and our colleagues and our lovers, if you are triggered around someone or in a scenario that you want to change it, you're uncomfortable with it, okay, that has everything to do with you. And it's a good thing. That's awareness. If you're in a group environment that you're feeling anxiety or you are triggered, something has happened, you're able to come back and say, okay, I need a minute for myself here. For some reason, people pleasing is coming up for me right now. So if you're a people pleaser, if you want everything to be, in order and nobody to be kind of frustrated or appearing to be overwhelmed around you, if you feel like you want to fix that, check back in to that part of you. Check back into that anxiety that's coming up for you, the part of you that wants to change that for your friend, family member, whatever. Check that. Go and take a moment. Check in what's coming up for you. It's going to show you why you're uncomfortable in this friend group or scenario or family outing. Because this life is busy and overwhelming. But when you're triggered and something really comes up for you that doesn't feel it feels heavy, It feels like you're out of control. You feel helpless. If you feel helpless, that you can't change it for them, perfect. Perfect. Something else to look at. It's a journey. This is a journey. It's and once you start doing this kind of work, it gets they're always going to come in. Always going to come in, but it's not going to hold you hostage. It's just going to kind of nudge you and tap you on the shoulder like it did with me this morning. And you're going to be, once you start practicing, you have parts of you. I know I talk about all the negative parts, right? You have parts of you that show compassion, that show courage, that show kindness. You have parts of you that are going to hold space for your family members that look overwhelmed without you being energetically affected. You have parts of you that are the superheroes that come in and say, yes, please be organized. Or yes, please work out and move your body. Because it releases endorphins in your brain that not even medication can do. Just saying. Okay. Move your body. So there's parts of you that tap in and you have in you that got you through. I don't want to say out. I almost said out. I don't want you to get out. I want it to go through you. That got you through these tough times, the contrast. Give them the stage and thank them. That's the part that I don't feel like I highlight enough. Give them the stage as well, saying, thank you for holding patience, being patient while my friend was running around with her head off or what have you. I'm just, looking like she's overwhelmed. Is she overwhelmed or is that your shit? Does she look like she's overwhelmed or does she just look busy? You don't know if she's overwhelmed, agitated, frustrated because you haven't asked. So if you're triggered by, even family members having a heated conversation, are you getting triggered by it? Are they heated by it? Maybe they're actually really getting a lot out of their conversation and there's no abuse, there's no, harsh words or anything, but because their tone is enthusiastic and there's some passion behind the discussion. Are you uncomfortable with that? Are you uncomfortable with that? Because I bet you they're not. It's just their energy, their conversation. That's their business. But if you are uncomfortable with it and you want to change it, that's perfect. And if you're aware of it, because if you follow me, I'm going to get in your head. My clients always say that. Melissa's in my head. I'm going to get in your head because if you're triggered, it's like, yes. Okay, there's the awareness. I'm triggered. Now what am I going to go do with it? I'm going to go take care of it. If you can't leave in that moment, by all means, shelf it. So you can even jump into the overwhelmness or the anxiety. Take a minute, even go to the bathroom for a second. Take a minute and say, I see you. I see you. I see you helplessness. I see you overwhelm. I see you anxiety. I see you. But can we just shelf this until I can get to you at a later time? See what it says. Shelf it. Put it in a box. And then go back out. And then follow up with it. These are the type of tricks and tools to say, if I can't deal with it now, is there somewhere that you'd like to go temporarily? I know you and I see you, and wow, I'm so proud of myself that I'm aware of this, but I can't give you the time that you need right now. You want to shelf it for a second? I do it all the time because I'm busy. I've got lots going on in my life, a lot of different energies, which I'm so grateful for. Shelf it, go back to it. See how that works for you. Just little tips and tools, right? All right. Thank you for holding space for me today. I really hope that this resonates with you. I'm hitting the end here. Okay. And there was a lot again today, right? A lot of good stuff. I'm so happy that I do these with you. I get a lot. This is the connection here. I get as well. I receive as well. Okay, as a helper, and I'm able to be a better support and a better helper, a better teacher to you. All right. So I'm going to leave it at that. I am at my 60 minutes. Okay. Leave your comments, leave your suggestions. Something came up for you today, put it in there. I get a lot of private messages, which is great. I love the private messages, but let's start having the conversations together. Okay. And start supporting each other here. Something came up for you. I want to hear about it today. All right. I'll leave you with that. I'm going to send you so much love and so much light today. I will see you next Thursday at noon for Tough Talks on my Turn Leaf Movement Facebook page. Bye for now.